And just like that, here we go. So sorry, I'm a few minutes late today, 5 minutes late, but I was up near the Canadian border today, and I haven't done a whole lot of streaming in here, and I use a software called Streamlabs OBS. OBS is a free live streaming platform, and it's been incorporated as well by a company called Streamlabs, and it's really popular for gamers, especially on Twitch. So not my ecosystem normally, but I really do like it. And as I do more of these live streaming events, it'll be fun to get handy at this and get going. Hopefully at the top of the hour. Just looking at the comments really quick here, I can see that Susan is in here from Chicago. Welcome, Susan. I'm hoping Randy Small saw the tweet. I also DM'd him just a moment ago to let him know that I'll be doing this live stream. I was with Randy on this morning photo shoot. Never met Randy before, but he does great stuff out in the rural setting of Lynden, Washington. So it was a great morning to meet Randy and to be out with the camera. And speaking of the camera, I did record a little bit of video. So let's go ahead and just show you that now. I think I can show you. This was just recorded with my iPhone. And what I'm going to show you is the fog. We just found a breakthrough in the fog, so we were optimistic we were going to get sunrise. And this is this is when we're actually in a cemetery, and it's just the two of us, and the break in the fog, and this beautiful view with the nearby barn, silo, and the Cascade Mountains, and we're waiting for the sun to rise.
I'll just be quiet.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Look how we're with Randy Small, and we're in Lynden, Washington. And Randy and I are standing by to shoot the sunrise. What a beautiful morning. We didn't know we were going to see through the fog, but we've got a spot here at, I think it's the Lakeside Cemetery?
Lakeview, Lakeside.
Something like that.
I'm not sure where the lake is, though.
Anyway, we got a nice spot, and we got a blueberry field just on the other side of the fence there. And what kind of berries do we have over there, Randy?
Raspberries are on the other side of the road.
Raspberries on the other side of the road. And we've got a barn in front of us. Yeah, it's just beautiful. Here's our situation. I think I have a thing for cemeteries because whenever I'm in Mukilteo, I'm shooting at cemeteries. So there you go. That's the setting as we're getting set up. We had been driving around. I left, and Susan North is asking, where am I at now? I'm at home right now in Snohomish, Washington. And I came back from that shoot eventually, Susan, and I got my photos into my computer and processed them in Lightroom, and I'll show you those in just a moment. But I got up around just before, actually the alarm went off at 3:15, I think the first time, but I hit the snooze button 2 or 3 times. So, but I was out the door by, I think, just after 4 o'clock, and it was dark, and I drove through a lot of fog to get up there. And it was about, what is it? It's between about 80 to 95 miles or something like that. And when I met Randy at his home, it was foggy. And we were kind of thinking, okay, maybe this just isn't going to happen. I was pleased to meet him. Another thing you should know, when I left here in Snohomish this morning, and at, still dark, 41 degrees Fahrenheit. And as I got into Whatcom County and closer to Lynden, the temperature gauge in my car for the outdoor temperature was just dipping. And when I got to Randy's place, it was 34 degrees. I had worn a t-shirt, a light sweater, a light jacket, and I didn't bring a hat. So shame on me. But I think the adrenaline just took over because once, Randy said, let's go try a couple of places, and everything was just fog. And then as we were going toward this cemetery he was telling me about, the fog cleared and I could make out the faint silhouette of the Cascade Mountains through it. And I should say it didn't entirely clear, but just enough to know that the mountains were that way, and I could see where he was going to be having us aiming. And fortunately, we were able to watch the sunrise. So let's go ahead, and what we'll do now is we'll bring up my other display, and I think I've got Lightroom set up there. Here we go. So here is the sun now coming up, and you've got the grain silo on the left and another one on the right, barn just to the right of center. And in the foreground, they are blueberry bushes. And Randy told me that they were recently harvested. So here we are. Those are the Cascade Mountains out there. Mount Baker isn't in the picture, but we could just see the top of it over the ridge, the same ridge that's on the right side of this picture, but just further to the right, just the very top of it. So I think I can just move my mouse over to display 2, and yes, I can. And we just click on the next image. So this was a cool moment, and Randy got very similar photos. So the sun here is mostly behind that large solo, and I have to tell you, the sun was so bright. I mean, it was just overwhelming. So to try and not be, just totally blown out with that brightness, best to obscure it so that we can still preserve some of the dark areas of what's inside of our frame here, and lift them a little bit in post processing, allowing us to see, the blueberry bushes here. So that worked out rather nice. Hey, Randy, you're here. Randy is here. Thanks, Randy. Very much like yours, my friend. And so here's a wider shot. Randy was just outstanding with his enthusiasm. I always, when I go out, I'm usually by myself, but if I ever pair up with someone, it can be a little bit, you don't quite gel completely, at least at first, because usually I find I'm the guy who just wants to, run and go places. I get all excited. And quite frankly, I think that could even annoy some people if they're not into photography. Why in such a rush? But, you'll know these specific types of moments can be fleeting. So you just want to be able to take advantage of that window of time when you're going to have the sun coming up, and you want to get to the right place. Oh, your wife is watching too. Oh, you're both watching together. Fantastic. Randy, Mrs. Small, Randy had told me you would have made us coffee. But so maybe next time. But he bought me breakfast. We had a wonderful breakfast. Go ahead and type in the name of the restaurant. It was really good, Randy, and I really appreciate that. I told you it was great hospitality. So he was very enthusiastic. He had as much, if not more, adrenaline as I did. And he goes out there all the time. He's got his photos featured on the page that he manages on Facebook for Whatcom County Weather. And he's really got a great relationship with some of the media, including Como Television in Seattle. The Legion of Zoom, I believe, is a group that he told me he's a member of. And Randy, feel free to throw any of your links or any of that info to complement the chat. Muffins. Okay, muffins sound good. We're looking at blueberry bushes right now. Do you have blueberry muffins? I digress. Okay, let's go through the photos. So still the same sequence here. And again, just using the silo to block a lot of that bright light. And you can just see the shine there along the, I'm not sure what that is that they have going from post to post along the blueberry bushes to kind of keep them in a line there, but catching the light nicely. And just to the left, even on the grass, there's a nice highlight with some sunlight just peeking through on the I don't know if I could say it was frozen, but it was frosty, it seemed, ground. Your wife says I sound just like you. Yeah, I think our wives could relate, and they put up with us, which is amazing, especially when we have kids, right? I mean, we can't have the wives do all the heavy lifting. We got to be there too, Randy, right? I stepped up. I did something with the kids yesterday morning at school, and then on the way home from your place, Randy, I stopped off. The kids they went to a birthday party today, and I needed to pick some things up for that. My wife's not feeling great, so I was able to help pinch hit. Okay, water lines. Thank you. Drip lines on the bushes. That makes perfect sense. Thank you. That makes perfect sense on those blueberry bushes. And so here was I believe this was a grave marker. We're in a cemetery and wanted to experiment with that. And when I process this in Lightroom, I bring my highlights all the way down and bring shadows all the way up. And then I, do the thing where you hold down your control key if you're on a PC and you slowly drag your whites and your blacks one way and the other to get the right setting. And whenever I do that with the bright sun, though, I get this oversaturated ring of orange, and I try to temper that when I shot this. Thank you very much, Randy. Thank you. And what I liked about this shot, it's one of a couple of them I got like this, is if you look at the lower left, toward the lower left, you can see some objects related to a grave there as well. So I like that. And normally you wouldn't think, I think to shoot the chain link fence as well, because you're just kind of enamored with everything on the other side of it. And the fence can seem like an obstruction. And I certainly felt like that at times when I was out there. I wanted that fence out of the way, and I wanted to get up higher and grab more of those blueberry bushes to fill the lower third, or roughly lower third of the image. But sometimes showing that thing that annoys you could actually add to the story. And honestly, when I shot this, I didn't realize I was getting that little grave marker down in the lower left. Let me see if I can go over to the other display. I'm in a different room right now, and I think I can. Let's see here. Let's see if I can click on that a little bit. And there you go. That's what I'm talking about. So just a little bit of light on that really helps add to it. I mean, you wonder what the story is. Everything kind of comes together. So there's the sun, there's the mountains, the trees, the barn, the silos, and I brought in that fence. And by consequence, a good consequence, I also got a little surprise in the lower left. So that was kind of cool to do. Now let's see if I can go to the next image. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a lot of this tree, but I wanted to zoom in first and just kind of aim for the right exposure setting to show these wonderful rays. It wasn't just that they were sun rays, you guys. It was the fog still in the air. So you want to kind of grab some of the sharpness of the rays, that contrast and proper exposure. But you also want to see if you can acknowledge the fog. And that's what I was aiming for here. And I thought the opportunity to do this, because it was just so eye-catching, was a lot of fun. First by zooming in to try and nail it. And if I could just nail this, my focus and all those critical things going on in the image, and it's definitely, Randy will vouch for this, you're just constantly going from one f-stop to another, or adjusting your shutter speed or your ISO. And so it's all that quick finessing, and you're trying to find that ideal setting. And then hopefully before the moment's lost, because the sun's not going to stay there very long, you get one at least that you can play with in Lightroom and just try and fine tune it. And that's what happened here. I actually got more than one that worked out, and I know Randy did too. It's so nice to have you watching this, Randy, sharing this experiment. So now I've pulled out a little bit, and we've got that fence. And one of the things that was cool I noticed through the fence, I don't know if we see it right here. Let me just take a look. And it's not right here, but in other images. Oh yeah, we do see it here. I saw these what looked like telephone poles, but that kind of confuses me. I know it was foggy. I'm just wondering now, were we up on an elevated area and there was actually a downslope on the other side, more profound than I had imagined? Because to be higher than what appears to be your standard telephone poles or power lines is surprising. Was that a zoom that you did while you shot, or did you crop from a larger image? I think that must be cropped, but I'm not certain. I did crop most of these. I mean, just not going way in, if at all, but just to kind of get a level and just kind of get more balance in the image, just to compose them a little bit better. Okay. So now that we've taken care of that bright light and got the right setting for that tree, the focus and everything else, now here's the wider shot, the subsequent wider shot. And to be honest with you, the lower part of the screen would have been the image, the blueberry bushes. They were darker, but I went into Lightroom and I just kind of worked in that area just to lift the exposure a little bit and bring that, because all the information there, all that digital information is baked into the raw image. And so I could just manipulate that by bringing those levels up, namely the exposure in that area, thus revealing what's in the image. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it, Randy. So let me give a tip of the hat to the Whatcom County weather page that Randy and his, I believe, your aunt manage, and she does the daily graphics. So feel free to put her name in there and give her the proper props there, Randy. And go ahead and give us the name of that Facebook page officially. In fact, I'm going to show it. I actually have it up to show you. I'll show folks that Whatcom County Facebook. In fact, I think I could do it right now. Hang on a second. Let's see here. There we go. There is the Whatcom County weather page. And Randy, and I believe it's his aunt, they update that every day. His aunt does the graphics with the current weather almanac every day, it's my understanding. And they've got almost 5,000 followers or likes on that page. So they're doing a tremendous job. And Randy went on to share with me that he's had a long interest, years of interest in the weather, and 2 years ago took up photography. And so now he's bundled those two passions together and he's all fired up. I can vouch for it. Yeah. And by the way, looking at the page, look what we see there on Randy's page. There's an image that's from the same moment I was also photographing. That was a dead end street and we had a wonderful moment. Those cows on one side and some spectacular horses on the other. So we will show that in just a moment. But for right now, let's bring up Lightroom again and continue to work through our images. Go over there. Gotta find how to get my cursor over to this room monitor in another room. Here we go. bring up the next image. All right, so very similar, but again, every moment the light dances a bit differently. The flickers, what's sneaking through changes or gets blocked, or new light comes in. And again, you've got the very bright sky. And I can tell you that here in Lightroom, I brought down the exposure on the sky a little bit just to kind of keep the evenness so that it wasn't all blown out. And once again, I want to thank those who are coming via the Whatcom County weather page. Really a pleasure and a treasure. A pleasure to share this treasure with you. Whatcom County is a treasure, no doubt about it. I went to school at Western way back when, and it was great to be up there in Whatcom County today. Enjoyed the drive back, too, in the light of day to see all the familiar sights along I-5. All right, here's the next image. So we're still working with that tree, and again, the spikes of light just flickering through there. Now, remember the cows? Right across the street, there were these horses. You're most welcome. Pleasure to give you the shout out. Yes, your aunt, but she wants to be known as your assistant. Thank you. So Randy and his assistant, his aunt, and his assistant run the Whatcom County weather page. Fantastic. And Randy, he's been very dedicated to photography, and he's constantly out capturing stills and video of the weather in Whatcom County. And he was telling me about an incredible ice storm where the cold air came through the Fraser Valley of British Columbia southward and just really created havoc in northern Whatcom County. He said things can be fine in Bellingham, but right up there, it can be a completely different scene. And he got apparently some pretty compelling video that the media nationally, I believe he said, snatched up as well. So here are these horses, and it was Mount Baker Clydesdale Farm, or Randy will correct me. And these are 3 of several horses that just stood there and observed us as we observed them. And it made for a wonderful moment to get images like this. And here they were standing like a team photo. At one moment, they all kind of got, I streamed it live on Periscope as well. I was streaming both on YouTube and Periscope this morning. And I believe I was showing the horses on Periscope at this moment, right around this time. And at one point they stood as if they were all ready to be hooked up to a wagon. They were ready to go to work, it seemed. Now, I really like this photo, and I'll tell you what I like about it. I like the expression on the horses. They're side by side. I love the lighting. I love that we're not getting a head-on. We're not getting a direct side by side. There's an acknowledgement, it seems, by the horse on the right. But I love the way the surroundings work. You got the branches overhead. You've got the darkness underneath at the bottom left. And to the right, you've got what looks like a barn there and a tree. So it's almost like this moment, these 2 horses are kind of wrapped by their environment, between the environment and the shadow. And to me, this is a very pleasing photo. I was really happy with this one. I don't know that it's one that many people would find satisfying, but for me, this spoke to the moment. It was really peaceful, and there was a sense of just unity. And aside from the one dog that came out and I guess had to go inside, this kind of captured the spirit of the morning. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Randy. And speaking of Randy, here he is. And Randy, I've got some photos I'll send you of this moment. I think I just cropped this one 3 different ways, getting closer each time. Let's see if I can bring that a little closer here for you. Here we go. So there's Randy. And you've actually got 2 horses there at first blush, You may not see that, but there are 2 horses there. You have the ice storm link to your video, but it won't let you paste it. Huh. Is that right? Well, go ahead and send it to me in a DM on Twitter, and I'll see if I can paste it in there for you, okay? Want to just DM me on Twitter right now? If you can, if it's not too inconvenient. You need that picture? You'll get that picture. Randy, I've got more. Hang on. Let's just continue to work through what we've got going here. Oh, we need to zoom out. Now, I'm glad I actually started by mistake here. I was zoomed in, so the next image is zoomed in. Because those twinkling drops of water, that's what initially encouraged me to get the camera down low. And as a result, I was in a kind of almost in a ditch, just kind of barely into it actually with tall grass. My shoes and my socks got wet, but that's all good. That's all good. Now let's bring it back out. Here we go. So I had the camera down really low, and I love this cow. You'd think, okay, that's a good moment, but when it gets even better? When the cow acts like the photographer eventually and moves closer to me and stands its ground. So now I've got even more fun with the cow, so to speak. So let's go through that. So here's the cow getting closer, and the tripod's a little crooked here, but that's okay because it was kind of a funky moment. I mean, the dew is on the plants there, and these two actually had touched snout to snout. But I forgot to, I had my camera on a 2-second delay, and right after that, I missed that shot. I changed it so I could take quick photos. And then this is the scene on that same side of the street, just to the left, and just to show you the lay of the land. And when Randy and I were driving away, he stopped because, hey, he's like me. Oh, we got to shoot that. So we saw a bunch of these cows. Let me see if I can get my cursor over there. There we go. There you are behind the tree. Yeah, and I think I actually got this pretty sharp too. Yeah, I think it's as close as I can get right now. And then one more photo, I believe. There we go. I like this one too. Same cow, by the way. And we can zoom in on that here. Come on, Mark. Yeah. You looking at me? That's what it seemed to come down to. So those are the ones that I picked as my faves. Now, Randy, I know I have some more pictures with you in them. So let me go. The way I organize things is those are the ones I selected, but I created a main folder with all the images. Let's find more with Randy. Thought I had them right here. I'll find them. It's basically the same photo. Yeah, see, that's what's called overexposed right there. So we don't always show off the ones we were just trying to figure out the right settings. Yeah, but it was a wonderful, wonderful morning. And again, definitely want to give another shout out to the Whatcom County weather page. Whatcom County weather. And let's see if Randy sent me a DM with the link here. I'll just check Twitter real quick. Oh, not for broadcast. It's a YouTube. Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to see if I can share a link to the video of the ice storm that Randy had mentioned just a moment. And while we're doing that, we'll just go ahead and play that morning video again.
I'll just be quiet.
No, played this a bit earlier in this broadcast. But again, this is Randy right here. And we're in Lynden, Washington. And this is while we were setting up
Randy and I are standing by to shoot the sunrise.
this morning.
What a beautiful morning. We didn't know we were going to see through the fog, but we've got a spot here at, I think it's the Lakeside Cemetery?
Lakeview, Lakeside.
Something like that.
I'm not sure where the lake is, though.
Anyway, we got a nice spot, and we got a blueberry field just on the other side of the fence there. And what kind of berries do we have over there, Randy?
Raspberries are on the other side of the road.
Raspberries on the other side of the road. And we've got a barn in front of us. Yeah, it's just beautiful. Here's our situation. I think I have a thing for cemeteries because whenever I'm in Mukilteo, I'm shooting.
It's true. When I go to Mukilteo over the bluff, the Pioneer Cemetery is a great place for photography. But this morning was all about Lynden And Randy sent me his incredible video that I know it's just by the thumbnail, it's great, that he shot of an ice storm in Whatcom County that a lot of news agencies picked up on. And I've just shared the link in the chat. It begins youtube.be/SAG. That is the link to Randy's video. In fact, why don't I just go ahead and play it here? I should be able to do that. Hang on a second, guys. We're going to make this work. Just a second. So I'm going to bring up display 2. And let's see if I can do it this way. Don't know if we'll hear the audio, but we'll see anyway. Here we go. Yeah, we've got audio. So let's just look at this. This is also Whatcom County. Randy, give us some information in the comments about what we're looking at, when this was. I guess we have the date down below, December 30th. So this was just the end of last year. And kind of put it in perspective for us, Randy. Boy, you could just see the damage. Now, fortunately, today we had nothing like that. But that's what these ice storms can do. No doubt there must have been power out, huh, Randy? And this is the same general area where we were this morning. Nothing like that, but that's what an ice storm looks like. Look at the weight of all that ice. This is Randy's video, and he knew it was going to be a hot item, so he went through an individual or company to help shop it and sell it, so he didn't have to deal with all the national media, Seattle and national media interest in it. Someone handled that all for him. This was an ice storm that came as a result of the Fraser outflow, northeast winds. Every north-south road had downed power lines. Power was out over a week for some areas. Thank you for that information, Randy. Great job getting this. That must have been treacherous. Were you actually out driving around in this, or did you just step out, and just walk around your local neighborhood? Yeah, it's incredible. And when he refers to the Fraser, he's talking about the Fraser Valley in southern British Columbia. By the way, that's where Harrison Mills is located, and that is where the Bald Eagle Festival is held every November. Wonderful event. I have not been to it, but my friend Christian Sass has been there many times and is a well-known bald eagle photographer. Okay, so we got it there. Let's bring it back to camera. If I get my cursor back. And there we go. And now I've got to go over and let's just bring the desktop audio down, or, you know what? I'm going to have to go show that display again, guys. Just a moment. Pardon me. There we go. We don't want that, do we? And now we're back here. And let's see, catching up with Randy, did Facebook Live in it. Oh, that's right. Randy was telling me that this morning. He was going live on Facebook when this ice storm hit last December 30th, I believe it was, or late December anyway. The upload was on December 30th. Well, it was in your title. I think it said December 30th. Okay, it says, Mark, we drove by some of these places today. Oh, wow. So it was the fog we could contend with. That would have just been miserable. And I'm happy to share. Yeah, so it was a great day, Randy. Thank you very much for the opportunity to go out and do a shoot with you in Lynden. And we'll have to do it up there again. And thanks for breakfast once again. That was a wonderful breakfast. And just magic. That's the thing about photography, isn't it? You just don't, it's like the proverbial box of chocolates. You just never really do know what you're going to get. And I've said it recently in a video, and that is when I set out, just the act of getting out of doors and having that fresh air and that moment just to get away from all those other things that might cause a little bit of stress. For some people, it's hiking. For some people, it's going to the gym. And not that some people don't go to the gym and do photography, but for me, man, photography has been just a wonderful opportunity to get connected, centered. Some people might call it grounded, recharged. Awesome day. You are welcome anytime. Thanks, Randy. I appreciate it. So if you like this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up or subscribe to this channel. It'd be a pleasure to have you on board. I really appreciate your interest in taking a moment to watch. If you have any thoughts on these types of streams or other places where you might think I should go and get a sunrise or a sunset or do some photography, or maybe you want to tell me about a great experience you had shooting a sunrise, please share it in the comments below. That'd be fantastic. Until next time, have a great day or great evening, and thank you very much to all replay viewers as well. Take care, everybody.